Who are you, and what do you truly seek today? I'm here to help you remember your essence, your authentic self. Let me begin by saying this. You are but a reflection of the divine, an expression of the universal consciousness that has simply forgotten its origin. What do I mean by this? You are a piece of the cosmic whole, a radiant fragment of the boundless, and we are now going to unveil this profound truth. We speak extensively about consciousness, its development, its expansion, its growth. But where does this journey lead? Why is it necessary? What is its ultimate purpose? Within our current state of awareness, we encounter most, if not all, of what influences us, what disturbs us, what keeps us from perceiving or embodying our deepest truth. Oftentimes, we've been conditioned by fragmented forms of understanding what truth is in our lives. These forms were segregated because individuals at specific points in time could only interpret or absorb the truth in that limited way. However, what you connect to, what you truly become, when you allow yourself to evolve through these states, from the unconscious mind to conscious awareness to expanded consciousness, and then to higher states of spiritual awakening. It is a profound reunion with your true self. What does this mean? In the spiritual realm, when you access a certain level of consciousness, we say that you are one with the divine, and the divine is you. This universal principle, this pure awareness, goes by countless names across the planet. Perhaps you know it as God, or what I refer to it as your superego, or your higher self. This superego represents an evolved state of being, a state where common forms of distraction, what you once believed to be attractions, were merely temptations. All these begin to dissolve. In fact, they begin to zoom out, allowing you to see each construct for what it truly is, for the temporary purpose it served. This heightened state of being brings you closer to your spiritual source, your inherent divinity. As you begin to shed these mental constructs, these limiting beliefs, what do you believe happens to your subconscious patterns? We began by saying you are a reflection of the divine that has forgotten its origin. So what does it mean when we are now able to see, assess, and consciously manage how our human nature with its conditioned responses impacts this superego, this heightened level of awareness, this God-level being? How do we access this? How do we even begin to understand this? Communities, religions, and spiritual paths across the globe strive to help you understand this ultimate reality, this origin from which we all stem. Because as an individual, from the grandest cosmic being down to the most minuscule cell in your body, there is an innate drive to seek relation to yearn for connection, to deeply understand its source. Yet, within all these paths, I want you to take the time to understand that there is a possibility of not truly grasping the essence, of struggling to reach that greater being. Sometimes one might become distracted, settling for a life of temporary solace, where the only perceived growth or movement comes from sacrificing a certain level of personal authenticity or humility to that external experience. Each of these traditions, be it Christian, Buddhist, or countless others, first cultivates realization, an awakening to truth, and then fosters compassion upon this realization. This is a crucial reminder, because at a point in human history, our priority became solely external evolution. And in that pursuit, compassion was overshadowed. It was because compassion was dimmed that these spiritual communities had to emerge to remind humanity that compassion is absolutely necessary for our true human evolution. When we consider human nature, it often refers to our primal instincts, the raw, untamed self that we embodied when we first entered this world. As we consciously build upon and integrate these primal instincts, immense possibilities unfold. If you recall, we spoke about the first step being transcending limiting beliefs, moving beyond inherited narratives to direct experience. The next step is taking responsibility for the inner weight of guilt, the pull of desire, or the burden of shame that has developed within you. These energies can now be transmuted into inner strength, into courage, into consistent, grounded action that aligns with reality. All of these are fundamental human experiences through which we can achieve a life of well-being, a life of profound joy. However, to move into a truly different state of conscious being, we first need to learn that compassion is inherently present within us. So is forgiveness. Compassion isn't just love directed towards another. It is the unwavering understanding and kindness that you extend to yourself as you journey through life. This profoundly shifts your state of being. This is where various spiritual paths and religions often come into play. They help people access this unwavering, undying compassion that might seem only accessible through their specific doctrines, through the path that was revealed to them. However, what I want to bring to our understanding is this. While these are valid avenues for compassion, often born from a perceived lack of it in human nature at the time of their inception, what every spiritual predecessor was striving to teach was the art of evolving, the art of once again becoming who we truly are, the being without ego, the being who has transcended primal instincts, the being who understands themselves deeply through conscious awareness, the being who is now working towards becoming formless. This expanded state of being is what we reflect to as consciousness. Every individual is born with an inherent spark of consciousness, and this allows the being to mature based upon the level of awareness that is cultivated within them. As it grows, you'll reach higher states of consciousness, where you'll encounter spiritual teachers, what some call gurus, pastors, or priests. These are individuals who have allowed their consciousness, or in other terms, their soul, to become more expansive, more full. And how do we go through this? By allowing ourselves to perceive both what is conventionally real and what is ultimately real, approaching all insights and realizations that come with profound compassion. This is achieved through mindfulness practice and other spiritual disciplines. However, the primary focus I wish to bring us upon is understanding your true identity, that you are entirely a piece of the divine. More than just a piece, you are a reflection of it. Think of the cells in your body. You are like a cell. That cell can only achieve so much growth based upon the nutrients and information accessible to it. What we connect to is called higher consciousness, and we honor this higher consciousness through names like God or the divine or Nibbana, because it is not merely a fragmented self. We, with our individual self-perception, tend to think of the divine as the entire cosmic body, and you are but a cell. As you allow more and more of the membrane of your ego to become more lucid, more transparent, connection is achieved, realization is achieved. Those who embody this state, we call them awakened beings or spiritual masters. Therefore, how you access this consciousness doesn't have to be derived from a specific rite, ritual, or community. It fundamentally originates from within. Do not let external sources dictate how this connection is made. That spark you feel in your life. When you become conscious of all your actions, both past and present, and can now view them with fresh eyes. Some only achieve this through time, which grants them wisdom. However, for the spiritual seekers, for those who want to be agents of change, who embody their willpower in life, they will practice true self-diagnosis, contemplation, assessment, and mindfulness. Through prayer, meditation, or any form of inner work that helps bring forth the deep assessment of feeling, thought, and true intention. You can think of that as an internal trinity. What truly determines your access to the divine, to your higher self, is how you regulate these feelings and thoughts, as well as the perception you hold when you interact with and contemplate these things. Is your life primarily fueled by raw emotion? Is it mainly driven by conceptual thought? Which of these do you feel leads your life? This is the state of becoming truly conscious. Remember, there are many paths that will try to lead you to this heightened state of consciousness. You may even explore different philosophies as you come into these realizations. What I encourage you to do is to take the time and apply compassion with realistic goals to yourself. The most detrimental thing someone can do is to pursue without cultivating regulated inner peace. this will actually lead you to the inverse of what you seek. If you are seeking life and liberation, but driven by greed or frantic hunger for information, you might find yourself rewarded with stagnation or despair. Each spiritual path or philosophy you choose does not automatically decide your ultimate outcome. It does not dictate how your life is going to end or who you are going to be. It is meant to be but a guiding lesson on your journey. And as you go along any journey, what happens? You learn from different sources. When you are a child, you go to school. As a teenager, to high school. As an adult, to college. So as we embark on this spiritual journey, what I want you to remember is our natural tendency to project our individuality onto a fixed sense of self. It's a natural desire to first understand our place in a community and then to understand its source. However, I'd like you to embrace these external structures as something that guides you, not something that sustains you. You are the sustaining figure for yourself. You can connect. You can heal. You can recharge. You can evolve. You can reach higher states of being. Use every opportunity presented in these diverse forms, not to rigidly define how you're going to be for the rest of your life. That is not the purpose of being a human. That is not the purpose of simply being. Otherwise, it would be called a human job. It is not a job, it is being. So as you continue to be in life, draw a different context when approaching every part of your growth, be it in your spiritual or personal journey. For this episode, our focus is upon the spiritual journey, because we understand that we do not arise from ourselves alone. This is a common misconception. The idea of being self-made is an ideology that often helps us cope with our existence. It is not the ultimate definition or label of who we truly are. If you are an expression of the divine, shouldn't you be able to bring immense change and transformation to yourself? Shouldn't you be capable of that same lucidity that allows you to appreciate, learn, and grow from change without it becoming the defining factor of who you are? As you approach this change, I want you to release the notion of a greater being that is there to judge you, to make you feel ashamed or guilty about who you are. It is not there for that purpose. If we understand what consciousness is, and if the divine is the highest state of consciousness, does that mean the divine has an ego? No, it does not. It means that this is pure awareness that is available for you to appreciate, for you to allow yourself to become a part of, for you to integrate with the divine. And when this integration happens, your entire life experience is going to shift. How you view life, how you perceive life, how you live life. All of this will begin to shift. And it will be in a way that makes you feel ecstatic, that makes you feel blissful because of this profound realization. Another concept I'd like to break down is the understanding of hell. Hell is what we refer to as a form of spiritual death. And what is this death? What is death to a human mind? Death is an endless cycle until a full stop comes. This death means, for example, if you are an unconscious seeker trapped in a cycle of simply eating, drinking, socializing, working, and pursuing pleasures without deeper meaning. What does this leave you with? An unconscious state that leads to a metaphorical death. It leads to emotional turmoil. It makes you struggle. It then latches on to you, and it grows and grows until it becomes something you can no longer handle or even understand while handling. This leads to what we term death or hell, because you're in a repetitive cycle through which you don't understand how to escape. And you may not even believe that escape is possible. That is what we call death. And hell is when you have to live with those attachments you've allowed to fester within you, creating an internal hell where life should be, where the source of joy, the source of all that you are, should be placed. In this integration, we are creating heaven, creating bliss, cultivating a feeling of uncontrollable joy that simply must be experienced by you. These are the heightened states of being we aspire to. This is the state that you are capable of achieving with proper guidance, acknowledgement, mindfulness, and self-assessment through contemplation as you nurture this conscious being. Take time and allow yourself to grow. Take time and truly contemplate how you think, how you feel, and in turn, how you react to life. This is what is going to lead you to a heightened state of consciousness. Remember this crucial point. The attachment to detachment is still an attachment. Let's remember this so that as you journey, you do not let the detachment from old patterns become a new form of clinging. It is not there for you to compartmentalize and discard. It is meant for you to see it, appreciate it, learn from it, and integrate it. Just like a cell evolves and grows by incorporating new data. And when you integrate it, do not do so with guilt, shame, or judgment towards it. Add it for what it is. Learn from it and grow from it. Do not let that single experience become what manipulates or rigidly defines your character. Your character is a living experience that is constantly shifting, constantly changing, constantly growing. Allow that to be your state of mind as you approach higher consciousness, as you approach what we call the divine, as you approach the higher being that is you, the reflection of all that is and all that you can be, but has not yet fully realized. This is your path from form to formlessness, as derived by our foundation in the Theravada, the way of the elders. This is your Formless guide, signing off.